I'm Gillian Bowen. Welcome to the Morning Report for Friday, the 22nd of May. I'm going to start with the war in the Middle East. Fresh peace deal speculation on social media played out across the trading day in the US. That speculation was suggesting progress on a peace deal between the United States and Iran, and what's being described as a final draft of this agreement being announced within the next few hours. Now, that hasn't happened yet, and we've been in this situation before, but investors on Wall Street reacted to it regardless. Part of the deal that's been detailed on social media includes a range of elements, as you'd expect, but one part relates to movement through the Strait of Hormuz and the Persian Gulf under a, quote, joint monitoring mechanism. Iran is also reportedly in talks with Oman over a tolling system in the Strait. The US is against that, unsurprisingly. So it's meant big swings in oil prices across the trading day, while Wall Street turned modestly higher after being lower earlier in the day. I'll get into those figures more in a tick, but first, let's take a deeper look at what's happened with Aussie futures, commodities and currencies. Now, the ASX is poised to open higher. ASX 200 futures are up 0.4%. We'll have to wait and see if yesterday's gains, though, flow through again today. On that, our market had its best day in 6 weeks yesterday. We had unemployment data out yesterday morning too. The unemployment rate climbed to its highest level since November 2001, suggesting the labour market is cooling faster than expected. So that dialed back expectations for further interest rate increases by the RBA. So the ASX 200 closed up almost 1.5%. On commodity markets, well, global oil prices whipsawed, as I said, in volatile trading, ending lower on uncertain prospects for a resolution to the war. Brent crude futures settled down 2.3% at $102.58 a barrel. Base metal prices were mixed on Thursday. Copper futures retreated on initial peace deal pessimism, while aluminium futures continued their run of late, up 0.8%. Gold futures turned positive after being down heavily early as prospects warmed for an Iran peace deal. The futures settled 0.2% higher to $4,543 an ounce. Iron ore futures dipped slightly, down 0.3% to $109.79 a tonne. Let's take a look at currencies. The Aussie dollar is buying a touch under 71.5 US cents. So if we step back now to how Wall Street and the other markets did, so US share markets reversed early losses as oil prices turned down amid heightened speculation that the US and Iran are close to an agreement to end the conflict. Investors also focused on a fresh batch of corporate earnings. So Walmart tumbled 7% after the largest global retailer maintained its annual targets and forecast second quarter profit below estimates. The S&P 500 consumer staples sector led losses with a 1.6% drop, weighed by Walmart's fall. Shares of Nvidia, so the world's most valuable company, edged down 1.8% as the AI heavyweight's upbeat second quarter revenue forecast and $80 billion share repurchase program failed to impress investors who are concerned about the potential for increased competition. Among other movers, IBM, it rose more than 12% on the news that the Trump administration will fund a handful of quantum computing companies, including a new IBM venture, in exchange for stakes in some of the firms. In US economic data, jobless claims fell last week, pointing to continued labour market resilience, giving the US Federal Reserve room to keep its focus on inflation risks. US manufacturing activity rose to a 4-year high in May as businesses built inventories to guard against potential shortages and rising prices tied to the Iran war. US government bond yields, they were mixed as investors assessed the latest developments I've been talking about in the Iran peace talks. The US 10-year Treasury yield was 1 point lower at 4.56%, while the US 2-year Treasury yield was 2 points higher at 4.06%. Moving to the European markets, the FTSE Euro First 300 index and the UK FTSE 100 both ended 0.1% higher. So Europe was steady, pausing after strong strong gains in the previous session as investors awaited progress on the US-Iran peace negotiations. Fresh data showed that the conflict was taking its toll on European businesses. France's private sector economy contracted in May at its fastest pace in over 5 years, while another survey showed Germany's private sector contracted for a second month. Our European tech stocks were mixed, with ASML up 1%, while ST Microelectronics was marginally lower. Enthusiasm over Elon Musk's SpaceX public market debut crept into European markets as well, pushing up satellite-connected companies. If we have a look at our watch list in Australia, Bendigo and Adelaide Bank release earnings results. In the US, the University of Michigan consumer sentiment for May is out. And next week, inflation figures here for April will be released by the Bureau of Statistics. So that's Wednesday next week. They'll be closely examined, as you'd imagine, by the RBA. The RBA's next interest rate decision is mid next month. And that's it for this morning. For further developments on the local trading session, please tune in to the CommSec Market Update podcast this afternoon, and of course the market close video right here on our YouTube channel. Have a great day and weekend.